Let's start recording now. All right. Hello there, Dr. Death. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. Let's see if we can get this one on time.
Oh, yeah.
But before we can get started on time, let me go ahead and mention our channel sponsor again, Aho Patchworks. At some point, that coupon code will probably change to 5%, so I don't know when that will be. But you've already heard it several times. Aho Patchworks, great place. But be sure to use coupon code /AGCast for 10% off your order for right now. Wonderful patches, wonderful everything. Go shop there. Okay, let's start off with how many we got.
Okay. Pretty short month. We got 3 betas. They're good ones. 2 of them are, one of them's a remix of an older design. One of them is an improvement on an older design. And the third one is something pretty new and very exciting.
Well then, what do you want to start with?
Oh, let's start with the Big Point V2 by Atmac.
Okay, yeah, wait. The Big Point V2. Oh, I'm thinking of the Low Point V2. Okay.
Yeah, this is the big one.
Okay, so yeah, what's the Big Point again? Is it 45?
Yeah, it's the 45. It's the larger frame. And this one's just kind of cleaning that design up. That's an older one that we did a while ago. And, there was some areas that it could have been improved. We've got a lot more user feedback. People have noticed, like, this works, but this hole would really be a lot nicer if it was half a millimeter further back. It would all blend together a little bit better. So they're going back through that design and they're refining it, making it better, and changing up the grip angle to make it more comfortable. Just generally product improvement.
Yeah, no, I guess, do we mention it was a high point?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You're right, yeah, no, because I guess, yeah, this one's a really older design, now I think about it. Yeah, this is, like, I wouldn't say it's one of the first couple ones, but it's definitely one of the earlier ones.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very early design for 3D printed firearms. And now, there's a lot of new things happening with High Point. They've got the 10 millimeter version, so I'm kind of excited to see if we can get this thing to work with those kits once they start popping up.
Haven't they also been, like, redesigning their older frames too, or is that like...
Yeah, they've improved it now and made it that it's double stack and 10 rounds, so they bumped up capacity by just a little bit. But, they added a threaded barrel, which is actually pretty exciting when you think about it, because High Points have a fixed barrel, so you can use a big can on that and not worry about it messing up your cycling.
You could also put a comp on there and tame the beast.
Yeah.
Although it's not like it was that big of a deal, considering that the gun already weighs as much as a brick. So it's the Big Point 45.
I think it'd also be the 40 frame. So it's the 40, 45, and in theory, although we haven't tested it yet, 10 millimeter.
Okay, yeah. To be honest, I really don't know what else we could add to this if it's the High Point frame. I mean, yeah, it's a High Point frame. This came from a wonderful time, back when you could pick up High Points kits for about $20 on eBay.
If only they'd sell parts kits.
Yeah, we are getting closer. They're acknowledging us more now. And
they follow me.
I am amazed by that.
Yeah, they follow me, and they like occasionally. Occasionally I post some spicy things and they like it, and I think it's very funny.
I feel like they understand it. We're getting closer to them, I think. We're making headway. They say no parts kits now, but
yes,
let's see how this all plays out. We can't expect them to change overnight, so we can just keep easing them over there, and eventually maybe we'll have a parts kit soon. But yeah,
that's the plan. Yeah. Incremental victory.
I don't really know what else to add to that besides, yeah, it's a High Point, it's the Low Point. I'm assuming old Low Point compatible parts kits will probably still be compatible.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah,
or old Big Point.
Yeah,
it's the the Low Point's the 9 millimeter and 380.
Right, my bad. Yeah, the older Big Point stuff should work. I guess that's mostly it. Let's go on to the next one, I guess.
All right. So the next one, and this is going to be exciting for anybody building a Uratau or God, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
That's close enough.
I get laughed at. Yes, the Brazilians laugh at me. The extended ECM barrels by R. Smith 28. And what this is it's an improved and simplified process for making 16-inch rifled barrels in ECM. And so if you build things like the Stingray or an FGC9, just a regular one, and you want to have a 16-inch barrel, this is a really good step forward to making that simple and easy to do at home and improving the entire process. Because we did have a process before that, but just like with the big point, as people use it and more people give feedback, you can find ways to improve things. And this is just a nice example. You can see a picture that I sent you, which I'm sure you're putting up on screen. And look at the rifling. Look at how crisp that is. Oh, I was going to say, this is just a nice improvement, and it's going to help you extend your range a little bit, bump up that velocity, let you use actual stocks, without having to do an SBR. Because nobody ever does anything illegally, and I know that.
If we follow our local laws here, I'm looking at it. I will say that picture could be a little bit better, but then again, I'm a little bit biased when it comes to taking rifling pictures with ECM. It just needs a little bit more lighting, then I could see more of the grooves. But it's 16 inches.
That is true.
It is 16 inches, so that's going to be a little bit harder to kind of angle that properly.
And also, I asked the developer for this picture 5 minutes ago.
Oh, well, that's good. Thank you for that. But that's good to hear, because I remember earlier on, like original FGC 9 days, when people were trying to do 16-inch ECM stuff. The ECM 2.0 stuff was a lot easier, but a lot of the 16-inch stuff was using some of the ECM 1.0 stuff, just cutting the rifling mandrels, just making them longer and longer and longer, and kind of attaching them. Well, which, it works, but
how you improve.
It would be nice if I had print bed that had, at least 16 inches of Z height, but
yes,
that it was always a thing where I knew I could probably do it. I just didn't want to. It's easier to do ECM when it's smaller, because when you go to a bigger scale, you have to scale things up, obviously. So what you could sort of get away with in 4-inch barrel, it's going to be a little bit harder with 16 inches. I think I remember looking at some guy doing it early on. They increased the volt or the amperage, and it was it's probably something I should probably look into again. I'm actually interested in seeing what they did differently for this, because there's a bunch of other things of, it's pretty easy to have a 4-inch barrel over a bucket and cover the bucket so it doesn't splash everywhere. 16 inches, well, I don't really have a bucket that big that I could almost fully submerge it, so it's going to be sitting out a lot, and it can't just be directly laying on the floor or laying on the base of the bucket.
No, it's where, you use things like PVC pipe.
Yeah,
and fill that instead of the bucket. That becomes your bucket, PVC pipe and an end cap, and that way you can get the length that you need.
Oh, wait, really? He's using PVC pipe for the housing?
Oh, for the bucket, I'm saying.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, never. My solution was just a trash bag over it with a little hole cut out. It works. It doesn't stop everything, but it stopped more. It stopped more than just doing it plain, which, I got good footage with it plain, but dear God, did it splash everywhere. I'm not going to do the 16-inch one in my tub again. It was absolutely the only reason why I did that was solely for the memes, and it was fun. It's funny to do, quite entertaining to do also, I'm not going to lie. It was right finals week when I did that, so it was a nice little stress relief. But
good.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that in my room again. I'm totally doing that outdoors if I can. But okay, so it's 16 inches. I guess, let me think of something that could probably ask. I mean, do we know the twist rate on it? I don't think it would need to be progressive for 16 inches.
No, it's not. It's just the same as the FGC9.
Okay.
So,
I guess another thing too to ask would be, are there other calibers too, or is it just 9mm right now?
As of right now, it's just 9mm, but it is going to be in more calibers, because he wants to keep expanding that and making sure that, with 9mm, it's a known quantity. We know what we're doing with it, so we can basically have more wiggle room and be able to refine everything. And once you're not dealing with separate calibers, that's just something that you get to eliminate from the variables while you fine tune the process.
Yeah, pretty much. Because that's something that I've also, enough people will message me about 9x18 Makarov. And then I guess 380, a little bit more available in some places.
Yeah, it is.
So that would be kind of nice, but I'm with you on that of get 9 down perfectly, and then you can kind of adapt from it. Because that, I think, would be actually pretty nice for anyone else that just wants to, have an ECM, whatever caliber barrel. Then now you have a nice little file pack where you can do it, because there's like a OSCAD file somewhere, someone's done it, I guess, but not sure how well tested
it's better to have something that's tested. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, that's like I think, original ECM stuff, I think, was kind of just like that, and then I've basically worked on it and made it much, much nicer to the point where it is now.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, it was just a theory paper.
Yeah, and it works well enough. Like, I completely understand. Like, it is actually really good for what it is. It's definitely better than anything you'll do with button rifling. Really, it's more or less of how well can you get a good chamber and sort of how well can you troubleshoot it for anyone else. That's what I think would probably be a big deal of all of this. Is it's one thing to get a nice rifled barrel. It's sort of a how much can you repeat it type of a thing.
Yes, exactly.
Because I was able to repeat the other one, the ECM 2.0 stuff, like at least 4 times. But 16-inch ones are always just a joy. I'll make a video on it, although I'll temper everyone's expectations. I will do a video on it the day Freeman releases the Boomer, so now we have ample of time to wait for that.
I don't know. Might be sooner than you think.
It might be sooner. I guess, yeah, besides that, it's ECM stuff. Interesting seeing where it goes. Hopefully it can be easier. In that case, I'll definitely give a good look at it. And aside from that, really, I'm not really sure what else to add to that. I guess we could probably go to the next one, too.
Yeah, okay, so the next one is really exciting, and that is actually the SFFRT by S3IGU2. I don't know what the username spells out. Maybe there's a joke in there. But so what this is it's a FRT system for the printed MP5, like the SF5, the KP9. And so it uses a cassette, basically. You're taking some M16A2 parts, mostly the disconnector and the selector and the trigger, and then you're putting it into a printed trigger pack, and it uses a trip bar and resets the trigger as it closes, so it is a separate action of the trigger, and you can just get some blistering fire rates. And like I said, so it works for the MP5, the printed MP5s, and it works for the AR-15. And it's selectable, so you can make it be semi-auto or,
FRT mode.
Forced reset, yeah. So I personally really want one for my North Hollywood build, and the fact that it lets you use a traditional selector, which there is a printed version of, so like if you can't get a hold of an M16 selector, if that makes you a little bit nervous to buy like all 3 of those parts, even though you're not getting a sear, it's going to let you print those. I sent you a video even of it firing if you want to watch that eventually.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, it's absolutely on the dot legally cool.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, no, the MP5 part of it's more fascinating to me because I know like the FRT doesn't necessarily work on other things that use an AR-15 fire control group. Like it interfaces with the bolt specifically in ways like I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, which is why this one was then made, because this guy really liked the printed MP5 and I guess figured out a way to make it work. So
I mean, completely understandable. I've had the joys of being able to shoot a full auto MP5 before. And while it's very difficult to get that sort of cyclic rate with the terrible semi-auto trigger they have, the MP5 was a really, really good candidate of a gun to rapid fire, I guess. Of course, with one pull of the trigger.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And by the way, I have seen close-ups. It does reset the triggers. It's just fun. Like you said, with the MP5 especially, like they're going to be so controllable. They're going to just glide. It is based on some of Hoffman's work. Like he got inspired by that. So I want to give that little bit of a shout out there so that, people know what's going on. But yeah, there's nothing really special that you need to buy, though, for this, like, to put it together. Like, it's an incredibly simple design that, like, you can buy the M16A2 parts off of Sarco that you need.
That always is, like, the weird thing for me, too, because, like, for those of you guys that don't know, you can just buy a full, like, M16 fire control group. I don't know how that necessarily works. We start getting into the whole like constructive intent or whatever. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not going to go down this route. But
as long as you don't have it milled out and that hole drilled, it's legal.
I mean, Right. That's the one thing though, is like, so it has to use an AR M16 trigger disconnector, you said too?
Disconnector and selector. That's if you want, yeah, if you want the traditional selector. So now there's actually another version that's even easier, and that uses Hoffman's super safe push button. That's even simpler. It just needs a few roll pins to work, and then like the parts that Hoffman already has, because all that is it's taking Hoffman's super safe trigger and putting it in a cassette, so you can just slide it right into the MP5.
Okay, because that is kind of cool. I will mention this though, because I think you have to do some like modifications to like the trigger for Hoffman Super Safety. Like, do you need to like do anything to the trigger at all, or anything?
Not on this one, no.
Okay, yeah, because that's kind of nice also, as I think that was one of the things for Hoffman Super Safeties. You had to like sort of like file some areas, sand some places down and stuff to get it to work properly.
Yeah, no, all this one needs is just the M16A2 parts, you know. And of them, the only one that really can't be printed is the M16A2 trigger, because it needs to be stiff for this to work. So a printed one's just got a little bit too much flex to function properly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was about to say, I believe that. Yeah, the AR-15, the printable trigger stuff, it works perfectly fine for its use, but even on like the documentation, last I checked, it's kind of also says on there, like, not ideal for long-term use. You should try to use a metal trigger whenever you possibly can, but this will work.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You know, the thing about the printable trigger groups is they are for people who have no other option, or if you really just want to push, this is the most printed way that I can make something possible, which I respect. But yeah, they don't have the same durability naturally as like a metal part.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it's also pretty nice too. I think Ivan just released the SPF 5, or
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it's the SPF 5. Yeah. The 3D printed MP5. So that's nice. Now you all could go ahead and try to test this out too. Those files are finally out. And yeah, I mean, that's actually really cool. It's interesting too to see that they went also with Hoffman Super Safety design. I think that's kind of interesting also. I think that's the first thing that isn't Hoffman based that uses it. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, you know, but that's the neat thing about the whole 3D printed gun community. People get to see all of these other ideas, and then they get an idea of their own, and they can improve it, and they can change it, and they can modify it. And like I said, the Hoffman stuff was inspired one version of it, and then another version of it directly uses those parts if you purchase them. So there's a nice bit of growth happening in the community where people are coming up with new and innovative ways of doing things. And I just find that really interesting, how quickly 3D printing lets prototyping happen and how much we have advanced in only a few years compared to, you know, traditional firearms companies.
Oh yeah, no, like the customizability. I mean, first off, an MP5 has a terrible trigger.
Yes.
Like it's a really fun gun to shoot in full auto. I'll tell you that right now. Absolutely. It's wonderful. But, you know, the trigger, it's okay when it's in full auto because, well, you only need to pull it once, right? Semi-auto is a different story, and it's not pleasant really to shoot semi-auto. And just the improvement of putting an AR-15 fire control group makes it significantly nicer to shoot. And that's kind of just something you can sort of do with 3D printing, really. It's like, that is actually really, really nice to do. Now you have a pretty well priced, you know, delayed blowback, which is, you know, honestly really, really fun. And
yes,
I mean, yeah, I'm looking at the video of it again one more time. Like that does look like a lot of fun, and it makes me want to build one right now, but I have too many 9mm PCCs. My Mac 11 is just as good, all right? The Mac Daddy's just like the MP5, all right? It's fine enough.
I love the Mac Daddy. I do love the Mac Daddy. I'm not going to argue on that one.
I mean, yeah, I'm being a little facetious, but yeah, it's okay. Oh, I guess we could probably mention this one too, since we're done pretty early too. I guess that's it for the betas, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I guess, you know, one of the other releases that came out was, I saw, what was it, the traditional Mac one?
Yeah, the Big Mac, finally. that was a nightmare and a half to get out of beta because I had two different developers take it over and then kind of like lose interest or disappear. And then finally, Uberclay stepped in and finished it. And I've got one printing right now. Like, because I've got the old beta version of it. So I'm like, okay, I want the, final version and I'm going to print it out. And I just love that thing. It is so cool. It is so much fun to shoot.
Oh yeah, and plus there is something about that original Mac aesthetic is like it does look really cool, and that I think what a lot of people also wanted to some extent is a more traditional Mac than like a Mac Daddy, which Mac Daddies are great because yeah, they use an Air 15 control group and Glock bags. Like it is a very functional firearm, but
absolutely,
yeah, the traditional Mac though does look nice. But that's the Mac 10. That won't work with the Mac 11, right?
No, this one won't work with the Mac 11. I'm hoping eventually someone does a Mac 11. I mean, I guess Aussie has something somewhat traditional, but I really wish someone would make a traditional like Mac 11.9 frame just like this one. And I'm hoping eventually that happens, because I don't think it would be that difficult. Like if we can make it work with the 45, I think we can make it work with the 9mm.
Absolutely. No, that would, I guess, one of the things. Well, no, I mean, it's still all kind of self-contained, so the side charger really won't affect anything much.
No.
But, that would be cool, I think. But yeah, something I guess someone else could consider, someone else wants to go ahead and try. By all means, this is the fun joys of the beta process.
Yes, and if you do, please reach out to me.
Yeah, because, that's always it's always nice to remember is you could always reach out to Dr. Death. He's, again, the one in charge of all the beta stuff to begin with. But I try to think of anything else. I mean, yeah, we're pretty much, this was a lot quicker than usual, so I guess this is an earlier conclusion, I guess. Not really sure where to go from here, actually. This is quite quick.
We just were too efficient.
Yeah, I guess, no, glad to see this. I actually might be able to get this one at a reasonable time. I'll still miss my arbitrary deadline, but doesn't matter. But yeah, I guess, really, there really isn't much else to say. I guess, we could talk about a little bit, some fun beta stuff of, betas are cool. I guess it's, you kind of mentioned it with the back one. It's sometimes even what looks like dead betas of, if people join it, still resurrect cool things you saw before.
Absolutely. And by the way, we always need more testers, so even if you don't have a beta, feel free to reach out to me or to one of the developers and, come on board and help us test these things.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next month too. We'll see what else we can get. And then, we'll eventually need to do a, reflection, I guess, a sort of going over everything, like a year in review sort of a thing.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that one should just probably be a live stream or something, because I feel like that would take quite long.
Oh, yes.
I think a smart idea would be, get sort of like poll the audience and see what they care about to hear where things are for some of them. So we aren't just kind of shooting in the dark.
Idea.
Well, there we go.
Yes,
yeah, we'll leave that to the audience too. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe to. And also, don't forget to stop by Aho Patchworks and pick up a patch, or several, using coupon code /AGcast. But yeah, I think that's a good idea to ask everyone, see what they want to care about. We should probably pick some of the ones we care about too.
Oh, I agree.
And then, yeah, a nice little year in review, I think, will be in order. All right, I guess this will be a little bit easier to edit. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Death, for showing up again. And yeah, hopefully everyone enjoys
Thank you.
Hopefully everyone enjoys the rest of their day. All right.
Bye.